Well, I guess first, like, take me back to when you first lost your job. And first off, when was it you lost your job? But also, like, what was that like initial phase of emotional reactions you went through when you found out you were without a job?
Oh, it was a really tough experience. It was completely unexpected, and it took me, I would say, a good 2 months. I got over the job loss, and I spent time with family and friends to help me just to spend time with family and friends, and also just clear my head from
Yeah.
the loss of the job loss.
So, one of your first reactions then was to kind of spend time with family and friends. And it makes sense, right? That was kind of one of my first reactions too. So I just very recently found out I was losing my job Thursday, so like a week ago today. I found out I was fired. And yeah, one of the first things I did pretty much all day Friday is I was just talking with, friends and family members and people, just like, partially talking gave my mind something to think about, but it also like helped me to process what had happened, right? And then what was happening next. So that was a big part of it for me. Did you like actually go physically travel and visit people, or was it mostly just like, phone conversations for you?
My parents came down, they flew down to Canada, so I spent time with them. I haven't seen them in a really long time.
Cool.
It was probably about a year and a half since I'd seen them, so it was just the perfect time to spend time with them and just recover from the job loss. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I did reach out to a couple of friends and say, I've just lost work, and I did it helped talking to people, and more recently what I've done is joined communities like Rev Genius and Business Development Union um, and Thursday Night Sales. Those have been just tremendous in helping me cope with the job loss and the job hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. What is like your line of work? What's the type of work you're looking for anyways?
I'm looking for an SMB AE role,
Okay.
so that's currently what I'm looking for.
Yeah. 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 Kind of in the same boat myself. So for people watching this, if you need salespeople, you got two of them right here.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. So I know for me, I hadn't been fired before or anything like that. So when I got fired, it really did kind of shake my sense of self, my own sense of identity, and my beliefs in who I was. Did you experience anything like that when you lost your job?
Absolutely. I mean, my work, I'm single, and so a lot of my personal identity is attached to my job or my work or my career. So if you lose your career or if you lose your job, it feels like you lose a piece of your identity. So it hits you really, really hard because now it's like you have all this free time. Yes, you've got lots of friends and family to lean on, but you also have a lot of free time that you would have spent at work. And so it helps you think a little more about having balance in your life. And it's of course, it's kind of a loss that you experience totally. It was a rough period, but I mean, it helps you think. It helps you put life in perspective because you realize there's other things that's also important in life other than just your job, and you kind of use this time to spend time with family and reprioritize your life as well.
Yeah. Well, obviously, losing a job is a big, door slammed in the face. Did you find since then any new doors have opened up as a result of losing your job yet?
Um, I've been more active on LinkedIn, making a post that I lost my job and I'm looking for opportunities. And I had a few people reach out to me, and I've had a couple of interviews. So I'm waiting on responses from a few companies. So I have had a few opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, my job search is still fairly new, and I still have plenty on my plate to keep me occupied with job hunting. So I haven't had any of that, like, I don't know, extra free time yet. I guess you could say I'm taking my free time and reinvesting into making content and stuff like I'm doing now, right? These conversations.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, there is definitely this temptation for me to like say, well, you know what? not getting paid anyways. I may as well go do something I enjoy, and maybe take a little extra time off. And so far, it's only a weekend.
Yeah.
I definitely can, but I'm getting this feeling that, if this goes on much longer, I probably will start, working fewer days a week and taking more days off to go hike and stuff like that, because it's my only chance, while I'm unemployed to do
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I mean, I've been taking time off to do things I enjoy, but it's hard. Like you also have to worry about your bills,
Yeah.
and you don't want the gap to get even wider in your resume. So no matter how much you try to do other things, it still comes back to like trying to find work and spending time searching for jobs. Or what I've done is kind of set up time with people who have found opportunities, and spoken to them, and just try to learn from their successes, uh, and just try to network as well. Try my best to network with people and just talk to them about the job loss and what I can do better to help improve with the job hunt. So you kind of um, rewire yourself to stay motivated and keep looking. Um, as much as you have the time, that stress is always there. So that kind of pushes you to keep looking.
Yeah. Have you found that when you're out trying to do enjoyable activities and have fun and relax and all that, have you found that it's harder to enjoy yourself because you have this constant worry and anxiety of finances and the future in your mind? Or have you been able to kind of segment those things and enjoy yourself when you set aside time for it?
I mean, it took practice. Initially, it was just all about I need to find new work soon. I need to find new work soon. But then there comes a point where you're like, okay, no, an hour a day or 2 hours with family is not going to stop you from finding a job. In fact, it's going to help you be more motivated and feel a little more relaxed and a bit more approachable when you do approach someone for a job. And also, so I've found that, it takes time, but just spending time with family and taking a break to go on a hike can really help improve your mood when you do speak to people. So I have been able to take some time off and just focus on what I'm doing versus job hunting, and it definitely helps you with the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely still in that early phase of like every moment of every day, I'm like, I gotta focus on this job hunt, gotta focus on this job hunt, can't relax, can't sleep, can't rest. Um, but yeah, if this stretches on much longer, I'm definitely gonna have to take a little more time off, distance myself a little bit from it, because yeah, I think like you can't do really well in a job hunt when you're not mentally there, right? When you're not emotionally balanced and mentally sharp. I mean, obviously, in the middle of an interview, you need to be emotionally balanced and mentally sharp. But even like as you're choosing what to do with your day and choosing how to invest your time and what to say to whom and who to reach out to, and like even some of the behind the scenes stuff, I think you still need to have that mental clarity about your goals, your purpose, and again, have that emotional balance. Um, Otherwise, I can't imagine it going too well.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. Like, um, it comes out like if you're not in a good space and you're in an interview and you're not 100% there, it comes across in the interview. So it's important to take time off and do things you enjoy. And when you get to the interview, you feel a little more energized, and it comes across when you're interviewing people. Because if you're in a really stressed space, that's not good for anyone.
Yeah. Now, have you gotten to a point where you've had interviews with the company, you thought it was a great opportunity, you thought this might be the one, and then it just, fell apart and you got the rejection letter from them? Have you gotten to that point?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a couple of interviews now, where I've had interviews with people, a couple of companies, and I've got letters back saying, we regret to inform you, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So obviously, it's always hard to hear that, but I always reach out to the hiring manager or the recruiter and say, hey, could you please give me some feedback? Would appreciate the feedback so I can improve the process, personally improve, so that the next time I have an interview, I won't make the same mistakes again. So I've been doing that. So some people have come back to me with constructive feedback, and others, I typically get a generic response like, we've decided to go with someone with experience that's more aligned to the
Right.
work we're doing, which is fine. It's probably maybe that is the real reason. But I've found that getting feedback from hiring managers and recruiters has really helped me because I won't make the same mistakes again.
Yeah.
And what I've also done is I've reached out to people who are on LinkedIn who've offered advice for interviewing. It's obviously an area I need to improve on because I'm going for interviews but not getting offer letters. I don't know if it's because of the mass amount of applicants that are out there, but I mean there are people that are getting hired. So I've taken the time out to speak with people before I interview, so I can prep and practice as much as I can, so that I can further improve my interviewing skills.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm still, again, only a week into this. So I'm still on that front end where I'm like sniffing out opportunities, starting to get a little bit excited, starting to feel myself getting attached to some of these companies' opportunities. But I haven't yet because it's still so early. Had to go through that heartbreak of
yeah.
we decided to go with another candidate, right? I know when it happens, it's going to set off I'm going to, have a hard time dealing with it. It's going to make my confidence shake, my resolution shake. How have you found to mentally and emotionally bounce back after a disappointment like that?
Uh, I look at it as it's a learning experience. So, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. I spent time, I practiced. Maybe it wasn't the right fit for me. So just chin up and use that experience, take the lessons learned, and then get better at the next interview. So obviously it hurts, but just having that kind of attitude has helped me move on quickly. Um, Dwelling on a failure isn't going to help you get work. So I've kind of taught myself to move on very quickly from that.
This is one nice thing about being in the sales profession is you have to learn how to do that, right?
Exactly.
So when I got fired, right, so it was last Thursday. It was kind of 4 p.m., 5 p.m. type of firing. That evening, I was shook up. One of the things that I did that really helped me a lot to get on my feet was like I went out on the back porch by myself, kind of in the dark at night when my wife was putting the kids to bed, and I listened to some music that really, really helped like put me together and help me process some what I was feeling. One of my all-time favorite songs, which like saved not saved my life, but saved my mood and saved my mental health when I got fired was The Next Right Thing from the film Frozen 2. And having 5-year-old daughters, I hear that song all the time. Was there any music that you've turned to, whether when you first got fired or even just like in some of these low spots you've gone through since then, any music you turn to like get yourself feeling better again?
Um, I like Imagine by John Lennon.
All right.
It's one of my favorite songs, so I listen to that. I also like listening to EDM. um, like I love listening to EDM. So a lot of artists, Avicii,
Yeah.
those are kind of like my favorite music that I listen to. I
That's
just
awesome.
listen to that, and so that's kind of it. Always puts me in a good mood. Even during the job I'm in right now, during a pandemic, when you're feeling a little down, EDM is always has been my go-to.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of Avicii, so that Avicii is like my and my wife's adventure music. We first discovered Avicii about the same time when we discovered Moab, Utah, which is one of the coolest places on earth. So for us, every time we hear Avicii, we think of Moab, Utah. And actually, back in July, I guess the very beginning of August, we went on vacation to Arizona, and on the way back, we decided to make a stop in Moab for a day before we went home. And like I hopefully these memories stay with me forever. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but I can still remember so crystal clearly. It was at night in the park. We had done some hiking at night because we'd never seen the park at night before, and that was great. And like as we're driving out of Arches National Park, driving like through the fading twilights, you can just see these like silhouettes of these big monoliths, because there's a full moon out, so you can still see a decent amount. We're driving out of the park, just listening to Avicii, windows rolled down, blasted loud, like it's a friggin' awesome experience. Like Avicii is a really good mood song. Um, all right, so I guess here's another question for you, because again, I'm in the beginning stages of this. So when I first lost my job, really rocked my confidence. I started feeling like a lack of confidence in my own abilities that I've never felt before, right? Like almost every other time I've been job hunting, to go from where I am to somewhere else. I'll read through job descriptions. And even if it's something that's just a little bit outside my range, I'll read through it and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I could do that. Give me a chance. Put me in, coach. I can do this, right? Well, for the first time ever this week, I found myself reading through job descriptions that on paper are probably very much within my range. And I read through them, and all I can picture is myself failing at that role. And all I can picture is myself getting hired and being a disappointment. And like I read through descriptions, I think, oh, I can't do that. And I've never gone through that before, right? I've always been a very confident individual, but just getting fired has really set me back. Have you experienced any of that, like doubting your own abilities in ways you didn't used to before?
Absolutely. I totally felt that way after losing my job. Things that I mean, I've done before and I've succeeded in, but then you look at it and you start questioning and you're like, am I good enough to do this? Am I going to be able to do this? So, um, I felt the same way. And it's like, you again, you can't dwell and create a pity party because that can go on forever. So when that happens, I kind of I speak to friends that know me very well, and they'd be like, well, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, and you're absolutely capable of doing that job 100%. And these are people that I know will be honest with me and they're not just saying things to make me feel better. So I'll lean on my friends and have like a Zoom call with them, and they'll be like, well, just, chin up. Don't let this get you down. It's just a blip in your in the radar. So just don't worry about it at all, and just keep going. So talking to friends has helped motivate me and just help me, and they kind of remind me of success that I've had historically. So you write down all the things you've succeeded in before, and you realize, hey, I can do this. I've done it before. And if not, and if there is a gap, what can I do to close the gap? Why not get sales books to read them and go through like webinars? I went through a webinar just yesterday. I think it's Why Deals Stall with and Rachel May, and there's a whole lot of people that were Casey Jones. I think there was
Yeah.
James Buckley and Tom on that call. And after going through that webinar, my confidence went up a little, and I was like, okay, great. So reading something that you feel that you have a gap in potentially helps increase your self confidence.
Yeah.
So those are the things I've been doing. If I feel like, oh no, can I do this? I just upskill myself in the meantime.
I'm curious, I'm sure there are parts of your life that have gotten worse because of being jobless, right? We go out on a limb and guess your finances and bank account have gotten worse because of being jobless. Are there any aspects of your life that you think have gotten better because of being jobless? Kind of a silver lining, so to speak.
Um, I guess the silver lining for me has primarily been just thinking about what's important in life. I have a lot to be grateful for. So one thing I've been doing to help me is have a gratitude journal. So write down everything that I have that I should be grateful for. Simple things like, oh, I have a roof over my head. I have some savings. I have a car. I have enough money to last a couple of more months. I have family to support me as backup. Not that I want to lean on them for too long, but I do have a backup that other people don't have. So I write this down on a gratitude journal every morning, and that helps me maybe just think about all the things I should be grateful for, all the things that are important in my life, and it's been a silver lining for me that way. It's just so once I do start working, I'm not going to take all these things for granted. I'm going to be grateful, and um, that's kind of been the silver lining for me. Is kind of appreciate all the things I do have right now.
Yeah. What lessons or self-development that you've gone through since your job search began do you think you're going to take with you into your next job that'll actually make you better at your next job than you would have been had you just gotten the job right away?
Um, when I kind of reflected back on losing my job, and I started thinking about all the things that I could have done better. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I wrote down all the things, areas of improvement. And I was like, these are things, these are spaces that I'm definitely going to improve on. I'm going to consistently communicate with um, management if I have questions, or if I'm, if I want to outperform, I'm going to sit with the best person on the team. I'm not going to be shy about asking questions. Um, I'm going to network and build a circle of mentors outside of my job. These are things I should have been doing in my role in any case, but it kind of helps you think really about all the gaps that you might have had earlier and how to fill them. And when you get your next job, you want to, you have this need to like outperform, but this time there's going to be a lot of action behind it because you know what it's like not to have a job.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess, in closing, you can just kind of, if you want, summarize previous points or bring up new points. But, if I sat you down across the table from someone who was in the middle of an extended job search and, struggling, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say just take a little time off, and do something you really enjoy. Just pause the job hunt for a little while. Just do something that you really enjoy. Um, a gratitude journal helps. So you're just thankful for what you have. So that kind of helps puts things in perspective. Talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people who love you. Journal, think about all the things that you could have done better in your prior job, and just you lost your job. That's okay. You'll find another one, and that's okay as well. And yes, there's a gap in your resume, but that's also okay. You'll find another job soon. And if this is in your control, you control your destiny. So after you've had some time, taken some time off, then talk to people who found jobs during a pandemic. They're doing something different and it's successful. So talk to them, set up time on their calendars, ask them what they did, and join networking groups like Rev Genius, like BD Business Development Union, and reach out to people and let them know that you lost your job, and then just ask for help as well. And people help. People want to help you. Help with interview preps, referrals. So just reach out to people in your network and reach out to your friends. And I think these are the things that will help you um, just deal with the emotional struggles of losing your job, and also help you find one as well.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Sudha, for coming on here. I've really enjoyed getting to pick your brain because, again, I'm only 1 week into this thing, and I was kind of curious what lays ahead if this thing stretches on a little longer. So I appreciate all the advice you've given me. I'm already know a few adjustments I'm going to make to my process,
Yeah.
involving probably taking a little bit extra time off this weekend, more than I was planning on doing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Again, for those of you watching, I and Sudha are both account executives, sales professionals who are without a job. So if you need great sales professionals who have the grit, determination to go the distance and make it through difficult times, well, you got us right here. Reach out to us, and I'm sure we'd both be happy to talk.
Thanks, Jonathan.